Hi there, this is JP with Ivy Labs Education. I am here today in our brand spanking new Pittsburgh Loft Style Operations Center, where we're going to be housing all of our consultants, or at least the new ones that we're going to have to service all of our Asian clients and clients from around the world this coming summer and fall. I've only got about 10 minutes because apparently if the file is too big, you can't send it via email unless you use some kind of a third party. So we're going to keep it short. So what I wanted to do today, you should know who I am. I imagine Alice has gone over that part already. I've been doing this, this will be my 18th season coming up. I've got several of the top type degrees myself. I used to work with Kaplan. I've had roles as an admissions ambassador with Duke and Cornell. 1 second, please. And I've been very successful working with Alice and Ivy Labs over the last 6 years. So what you're probably wondering most of all is how can you separate yourself from competing applicants, and most especially from competing Chinese applicants, because those are your prime competitors, right? So I have some notes, and I just want to go over them with you so you get some value out of this talk. We offer the 10-step program, which is very good, especially good for Chinese applicants, because there are particular components of that 10-step program that are certainly applicable, and even more applicable if you're a Chinese applicant. As you guys may or may not know, the number of mainland Chinese, and including Hong Kong, applicants to American colleges has gone from something like 30,000 4 years ago to something like 300,000. And it's predicted that by 2015, more Chinese will be applying to American colleges as freshmen than Americans. So it's competitive enough as it is, but it's going to get exponentially more competitive. So with that in mind, I wanted to give you some ideas, certain things that I've observed over the years that I don't see as many Chinese applicants presenting. And this is important information for you to know, because you need to know who your primary competitor is and what they typically bring to an admissions office in terms of their credentials, right? Because that's primarily who you're competing with. So for the last 5 or 6 years, Alice and I have built this sort of strategy for our Chinese applicants around the notion of alpha attributes among Chinese applicants and beta attributes. Beta being the attributes in the Chinese applications that we don't see as frequently. But we noticed early on that it was precisely those attributes that created differentiation between certain Chinese applicants and other Chinese applicants. So we call those beta factors. And beta factors are things like any explicit or even implicit forms of creativity, athletics, anything sort of non-standard, volunteer work. As you all may have gathered, it's a little different in Hong Kong, but in mainland China, there actually aren't that many opportunities for volunteer work, which is a shame. We don't know how that came to be, and it's getting better. And we can certainly help with that as part of the 10-step program. But things like volunteer work, very important to American college admissions boards, because it's indicative of character and a commitment to society and bettering one's overall community. Very important. Your course selection is very important. Yes, you want to make sure that you have the standard math and science, so you want to hit on the alpha type Chinese course list. But you want to add some beta courses in there, photography, right? Creative writing, something like that. Something that you don't see a lot of Chinese applicants take, because, again, the goal here is to differentiate yourselves from other competing Chinese applicants. So your volunteer work. Courses should be a little beta, right? Mix them up a little bit. Make sure your writing skills are strong. They pay particular attention to your writing skills, because that's something that is a differentiating factor. If your high school offers AP courses and whatnot, Try to take as many of those as possible. It's become one of those sort of ancillary aspects of competition, especially among the hyper-competitive Chinese applicants. And then, of course, you've got things like athletics. And we have some pretty funny stories about how some of our Chinese applicants who have engaged in non-traditional Chinese athletics, which would be like badminton, right, tennis, to a lesser extent, swimming and diving. We've got stories about some of our Chinese applicants that do things like skydiving, that do things like spelunking, which is cave exploring, right? Do things like football, American style football, ice hockey. This is not to suggest that these are things that you have to do, but again, anything that's sort of non-standard, if you're looking at the different things that you can pursue to help differentiate yourself in your application, those are the kinds of activities. In order to determine what is a standard and non-standard activity or course, just all you have to do is really just look around you and see what your prime competitors are doing, and those are the people sitting right next to you. Essays are basically how and why I got into this business. Among my 5 degrees, I'm still most proud of my writing degree, the creative writing degree, which is one of the top departments for creative writing in the country at Pitt, University of Pittsburgh, which is right down the street, as is Carnegie Mellon. It's also a very good school. And I got started in helping people online with their essays quite a while ago, and that's how I also joined Kaplan in New York City and led up their consulting center at 16 Cooper Square in Manhattan, a long time ago. I got into it because it was an outlet for me to continue to express myself creatively and get paid for it. So, what you need to know about how you write your essays. Sort of the first thing that you have to come to grips with is something that's going to hit you hard. And that is this. There's no such thing as a perfect essay. In the quest to create a perfect essay, you're automatically alienating some portion of the reading audience that you're trying to hook. That's just common mathematics. And this strikes some Asians as difficult to comprehend because there's always a quest for perfection among the Asians, and especially the Chinese. So that's understandable. But the goal is not to create a perfect essay because it's unattainable. And so what you want to do, we're talking about something like the main Common App essay, right? You've got a limited amount of space. Topics should not be something, your topic should not be unique in general, because there is no such thing. Think about it. How many applicants over the years have written a personal statement for college admissions? Millions, right? For one to think that they can create a generally or categorically unique essay is just nonsensical. It can't happen, right? The goal is to create an essay that is uniquely you, because there's only one you. And so the topic that you choose should allow you to express yourself in a way where you can be showing something that is uniquely you. Definitely something that you don't want to do, and this is something that especially some of my parents of the clients, that they refuse to accept sometimes until you talk to them. An essay is also not supposed to be sort of a laundry list, right, of your accomplishments. Not supposed to be a trophy list, because those are all items that can be ascertained elsewhere in your application. So, one of the best essays that I ever helped a young man write, who ultimately ended up getting into Harvard College, was about a piece of bubble gum that he got stuck on his shoe in the subway in New York. And it was a beautiful essay, right? You say, oh my God, I've got to do something like that. You see how unique that is? No, it was unique not because no one had written before about getting gum stuck on his shoe. Well, someone may have. But it was unique to him because through that context, he could express feelings and outlooks and perspectives on the world that were uniquely his. So, when you're thinking about your topic for your main essay, try to think along those lines. Don't make it too complicated. Also, another sort of error that I'm seeing more often these days is sort of a desire among some of my applicants to create an essay that is, I guess, from a structural perspective, different, meaning that how it's formed, simply how it's formatted on a page. So you'll see essays that are written, you know, like this, or they make a squiggly line, or they make some sort of, you know, exotic shape. You don't want to do that because it's not a good idea. So in the quest to be creative, you don't be too creative. Be creative with how you find your unique self and how you represent that to the admissions committee. I believe that that's what's most important. Never go over the word or space limit. This is a fundamental problem that I've encountered with students of all nationalities for almost 2 decades. When you go over the limit, whether it's word count, character count, or page count, you are implicitly telling the admissions committee that they have poor judgment by having set that limit on you. And that, of course, does not reflect well on the applicants. So, you know the box, or the corral, in which you have to run as a horse, and then when you're in that corral, look under the stones and find a story that is uniquely you, that expresses what is uniquely you. And that's really all you're trying to accomplish with your essay. You're going to write a ton of essays. You're going to write the short essay, activity essay for the Coming Out. You're going to answer the why this college, why do you want to go to Duke, why do you want to go to Harvard, why do you want to go to Michigan in the supplemental application. So there's a lot of work ahead of you. The good news is that if you choose to work with us, we believe that we are the best, and I think that our results prove that. And so I apologize for not being able to come to see you personally. But it is in good faith that I am building out this office so that we can serve you better moving forward. So I'm going to do the letterman. This is JP from Pittsburgh, signing off.